Hi everyone, thank you for coming and joining us today. We are Unexpected Games. I'm Konieczka, the head of studio.
I'm Josh Beppler.
And we're going to be showing you the Mandalorian Adventures, the Clan of Two expansion. We've got a pre-production copy here, so it's a complete version of the game. This is the one that we showed off at PAX Unplugged last year, and we're just going to show you the components and talk a little about what you're going to see in this game. So once you open the box, first off, you're going to see a rulebook. As you would expect, it's going to just talk you through all of the new stuff that you're going to find in the game here. There's some new modes, some new missions, some new mechanics. Nothing too exciting. But as we get to the meat here, we're going to find the mission book. Much like the base game, we've got a mission book that's the same size. You've got 4 new maps in here. They're all based off of Season 2 of The Mandalorian. So you're going to be hearing the story from Season 2. You're going to be going to those locations, playing out missions that you saw in the show, but they can also be used in sandbox mode as well. You want to show a little bit of what you can see in here, Josh?
Yeah, let's give just a little example here. There we go. Get that looking the right way. So just like the base game, every map in the mission book is going to be preceded by a graphic introduction. So if you've not seen Season 2 or you're playing with someone who hasn't seen the show, or just as a reminder, you're going to be caught up on the story. Why are we here? What's our motivation in this mission? And then here's a sneak peek at the first of our new missions here in the new mission book, the new map. This is the Liberation of Caladan. And I think there's some really neat mechanics in here that we're going to talk about here as we unveil some more stuff.
Absolutely. And we'll even be playing this mission in another video, so be sure to check that one out. Next up in the box, we've got some mercenary mission sheets. So much like the base game, these are 4 brand new mercenary missions. These are different than the base game, plus the ones that we have online. They add new challenges, new way to play, and they're fully modular with all of the existing content from the base game. Do you want to show those off a little bit?
Yeah, so if you've not seen this yet, you can take any of these mercenary missions and you can overlay it on top of the objective section of any map. And so these 4 new missions can be played on any of the maps in this mission book. They can also, all 4 of these can be played with the base game's mission book. And just to kind of further that discussion, any of these maps can be used for our free missions that we've released online. You can mix and match and have a ton of new combinations to play.
Yeah, I forget what the number is now. It's
quite a few.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, take a look on our website. You'll see at least 10 more missions by this point.
Yeah. So next up in the box, we have the cards, of course, and there are a bunch of different types as you'd expect. But we're going to talk a little about the characters and the skill cards. So there are 4 new characters in this box, and they're all based off of pivotal characters that were in Season 2 of the show, but also a lot of fan favorite stuff. So we've got like Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, Fennec Shand. And so they each have their own character cards that work a little differently. Maybe Josh will talk about that. And then they've got their decks of skill cards with their unique skills that really make each character unique. And I think that's one of my favorite things about this game is you can play a mission that you've already played before, or you can play a new mercenary mission, and you're going to, with a different character, you can get a completely different experience.
Yeah.
They all have their own tricks and different ways of playing, and I think that this expansion pushes it even further.
It does. We can actually take a quick peek at each character just to kind of give you an idea of what they're bringing new to the table. So taking a look here, Bo-Katan, all about the top card of her skill deck is kept face up at all times, and so she'll always be able to see what card is coming next, and a lot of her skills will kind of work off of that. Ahsoka Tano, she is a lightsaber wielder. She can only attack threats in her space, but she'll always get a free movement. Boba Fett, he being a bounty hunter, one of the most feared in the galaxy, he can actually perform the attack action twice on the same turn. Which is a ton of fun to do. And Fennec Shand, being a sniper, can actually increase the range of her attacks. And of course, their skill decks all play into these core identities. We can look at a couple of cards, you think?
Yeah,
Maybe
sure.
1 or 2 of there.
Look at some Ahsoka stuff.
Yeah, we'll use Ahsoka as an example. So Ahsoka, for example, always has that free movement, but she'll have something like her Shoto lightsabers. When performing this action, if the top card of the planning discard pile is retaliate or defend, this is going to actually add 4 strength. It's a 6 strength attack. This one, when she moves, until the end of this action step, all characters will ignore enemy abilities. So this pairs really well with her free movement as well.
I think one of the fun things about Ahsoka is it's not just about her fact that she can only attack people in her space. Like, that thematically makes sense, but she's got this combo system in her deck where she has a lot of cards that are based off the top card of her discard pile, and so, for example, some of the tricks you can pull off with her is if you have a defend card from the planning deck, and then you use your free move to move a space into an enemy that deals you a damage, you'll lose that defend card, and then you might be able to play your lightsabers that gets additional strength because there's a defend card on the top of the discard pile. And so there's a lot of really tricky type things you can do once you get in the rhythm of it.
And her cards are appropriately strong as far as reacting to the limitation of how far she can attack. When she hits really hard. She's been a ton of fun to play. I'm excited for people to finally get a chance to experience these characters.
Yeah, and unlike the base game, these character abilities are always on. And so in the base game, your characters can only use their ability once per game. But these ones fundamentally kind of change the game for you. And so they are, you never like flip your card and lose it because it's fundamental to your character. Cool. Next up, I'll show, we've got some event cards here. Let's look at these. So there are, of course, event cards in the base game. These event cards in the expansion, there's a couple of different types. Let me just talk through the different types you're going to find here. So we've got some, these purple ones are for a specific mercenary mission. There's one where you're hunting the Krat Dragon. That's the only time you're going to use these. It really gives personality to that mission. And then there are some, there's 7 event cards that are dangerous event cards, and this allows us to add a whole nother difficulty level to the game. These 7 cards replace 7 of the weakest cards in the event deck, so if you're the type of player that's really felt like you've solved the game and you want that extra level of challenge, you can use these cards, and it adds some additional challenge, and it really makes you play the game a little bit differently because you have to adjust to some changes to the cards. My favorite, though, are the new card types that I'll let Josh talk about a little bit here.
Sure, okay. So one unique thing to this expansion is ongoing events. And so, for example, I would draw something like Fortified Position. This is going to resolve just like every other event card in the base game. All snipers would move a space, and then one sharpshooter would attack at range 2. Now, if no enemy attacked, there's a qualifier here. We're going to actually turn this around, and in that the action space that we were resolving, this is now an ongoing event. This is something that's going to always be active until you resolve another event here. So during this action, when you take this move action, your skill card strength is reduced by 1. And this, again, will stay out there until you've resolved a new event, which would clear the entire pile. And so we've added quite a few new ongoing events that will give you, perhaps they damage you, sometimes they will spawn reinforcements. They have a lot of different variability in how they're going to make the game a bit more challenging, but it does add for a lot of new ways that the enemies are going to interact with you when you're partaking in a mission.
Yeah, and it makes you kind of have to react and think on your toes. If you have the perfect plan, these might throw a little wrinkle into it. One of my favorite cards is there's one that adds 1 strength to the action pile, and it's going to stay there for the rest of the game. But when you draw the card, you can choose to let some players be dealt damage and just discard it. And so right at if it comes out early in the game, you might have to have that discussion with your partner, like, oh man, are we okay with attack permanently having a 1 in there, which means that we're going to get events a lot more frequently. So I don't know, there's a lot of interesting things that you can get that you won't see in just the base game itself. One of the other new components in here is the dual deck. So this is an entirely new card type. These cards do serve 2 purposes, but the main purpose is that they're used for certain enemies that have the dual ability. The goal of these was that we wanted these epic fights that happen in the show to really feel on your tabletop like they did. So, for example, Morgan Elsbeth is the main enemy that you're trying to defeat in the first mission in the expansion, and she's got the dual icon. In order to attack an enemy that has a dual icon, you have to be in their space, and when you attack them, you have to flip the top card of the deck, and the enemy is going to react some way. Usually they're going to block some damage, they might move out of the way, they might summon reinforcements, and it really requires you to hit them hard and be strategic about how you take them down. I don't know if you want to show maybe a couple of cards in there, Josh.
Sure, yeah. So what's really interesting about this, for example, if I did attack Morgan Elsbeth, I would draw one of these cards. This would say dodged. So you may deal yourself a damage to resolve a new duel card. Otherwise, all the damage that you just dealt is blocked except for one. So I could take a damage and maybe flip a new one. This is cornered. So when I'm attacking a dual enemy again, spawn a reinforcement in the nearest star, and then this enemy will block all damage but 2. And so there is where you have to kind of weigh the risk management of how much damage am I going to try to do here. There is some indication on the back of the deck here, which will give you an idea of the strength of card you probably should play, just to give you a little bit of an inkling of like how much is going to be blocked or prevented. But to Corey's point, this is really a great way that we have found to kind of re-implement and reenact these really epic fight scenes that we saw in Season 2. A lot of one-on-one combat that we're able to kind of bring to the tabletop here through the dual deck.
Yeah. And there are one other new small card type, and that is in the planning deck. In the base game, there's only 3 unique abilities you can find in there, but in the expansion, we had a brand new one, which is called Mobilize. And these Mobilize cards basically are much like the other planning cards. When you get it, you keep it face up, and you can discard this card at any point during your turn to move 2 spaces, ignoring enemy abilities. And this adds like a whole ton of flexibility, especially to characters like Ahsoka that need to be up close and personal. Yeah. Or you could even use it with somebody like Boba Fett, where Boba Fett can attack twice. Let's say he's not in range of 2 different enemies. He could use his Mobilize to get in range, and then he could do 2 different attacks. And so it really opens up a lot of different options for you, and they are extremely powerful in the right situation.
Yeah, I think our goal with this was, you know, certain players just have favorite planning cards. Sometimes late in the game, you're just digging for defend cards, or players just always grab the retaliate if that's something they like to do. So our goal was, how do we make a new planning card that's going to be a great option and people will have to reconsider. Mobilize, the ability to move 2 spaces for free, not as one of your 2 actions, and you're ignoring enemy abilities, I think is such a great option. I'm excited to be able to show this one off in our playthrough in the next video.
And the last thing that you get in the box is just all of the tokens. There are, of course, you've got standees for all the characters. Each of the new missions has new enemies for you to encounter, some of them with new abilities. In addition to just duel, there's like Parting Blow, where when an enemy is defeated, it deals you a damage as it's going away. And then there are a few new tokens that are used in specific missions. But overall, our goal with this expansion was to give players more of what they love about the game, plus some unexpected stuff. And I think with the ongoing events, with the dual deck, with the Mobilize action, there are a lot of new strategies that you can find. And with playing these new characters on old missions and mixing and matching, I think the number of combinations of different cool, unexpected moments you're going to see on your table is just going to multiply.
No doubt. Well said. Yeah, I'm so excited for people to get a hold of it and start implementing it with all of the base game content. And again, as Corey said, we're about to play a 2-player playthrough of this first mission. So stick with us on our next video and we can dive right in.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks a lot.